Hi, welcome to A Word with Kelly Scott Reed. I'm here with Joe West, the author of Strange Flesh. Hi, Joe. Where are you coming to us from today?
Good morning, Kelly. I'm coming to you live from St. Louis, Missouri.
Well, St. Louis. I've never been there. I'd like to visit there. I know that there's a lot of history and coolness that comes from that. I mean, you know, we, you know, I do a lot of exploring, but I never get to the Midwest as much as I would. You consider Missouri Midwest or South? I don't even
No,
know where
no, 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 no. Missouri is the middle. It's by definition the Middle West. It's yeah. We have the Gateway Arch. It's the gateway to the West. I mean, look, come see a game, Blues or Cardinals. See the Arch. Have toasted raviolis and a matzo pizza and get the hell out of here because really, there's it's work, live, die, man. This isn't a tourist town by a long shot.
now it's funny. We full confession time. We already did an interview that the sound was all messed up. So instead of making someone sit through bad sound, even though it was an awesome interview and there were snippets I wanted to take, we're kind of doing this fresh. So in the meantime of that interview, I've actually gone and looked at Strange Flesh a little bit, and
Oh,
it was
great.
reminding me a little bit of there's like a biblical element.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The whole title is a biblical reference. Strange flesh is it goes way back in the Old Testament. So how you would describe, cheating on your spouse. You're experiencing strange flesh. It's still a common acronym today that people just have shortened down to getting some strange. And that's it is what it's about. I mean, this is a real screwed up book. This is a guy, his name is Freddie. He's in love with two women at the same time. One wants to marry him, one wants to kill him, but that don't bother Freddie none because he knows God is winking at him.
Now, if you could describe your writing in one word, what would it be?
Transgressive. I've been a transgressive kind of guy for a long time. Ever since I read of Mice and Men, I'm just like I like the dark fiction. But the thing is, Kelly, is I'm a romantic. Yes, I love people to be in love, and so I'm actually urban fiction. So transgressive fiction is defined as the character is usually illegal or illicit means to solve their problems. But if you put a little asterisk there, but they fall in love, congratulations, you now have urban fiction. And I once I read Donald Goines, I was just like, man, I gotta find a way I can do it like that, but with my own kind of speed into it. And I just always love a subplot of a romance of some kind. I mean, what's life without love? Then it's just, I don't know, reruns and drugs.
I do love the way you turn a phrase. I really have to say. It's super clever and it takes me by surprise and I laugh like Betty from the Flintstones. I like it all the time. So it's really awesome. Thank you for that. Now, I always find that when I'm writing, when I'm really compelled to write, I'm usually writing about something that I'm scared of.
Oh,
Do
oh
you
yeah.
have that? Do you do that in your writing? Is there anything in Strange Flesh, for example, that is something that you fear or that you've explored as part of being able to explore it without actually doing something in terms of fear and how you're relating to it?
Well, the only thing I'm really afraid of is women. So I guess I am exploring that in the deepest crevices. No, I really, I just try to imagine scenarios, and when I find one I'm kind of interested in, I start following it down the rabbit hole and see if there's a real story there. With Strange Flesh, I just happened to be working as a security guard during COVID. My job. I actually work at the St. Louis Public Library. Can you believe that? A writer working in a library. What's next? Guys who were in bands working in guitar stores. Inconceivable. So anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm just kind of writing this story about a security guard because I know it. I've been a security guard many times. It's how I got through college, and I've been a security guard once before for the library. But right now I'm the event and auditorium coordinator. But during COVID, no events, you got to do something. Would you like to stay employed? I sure would. That'd be awesome. Thanks. So, I'd let these folks in the building, usually the custodians, around 5 o'clock in the morning, maybe one or two other people. Then until about 7:30, 8 o'clock, it was just this couple of hours of undisturbed regularity. And so I just started writing more and more. And then before I knew it, I had a story because once I wrote a character into a story named Tom, uh, it just clicked. I'm like, oh wow, I got to go with this because there's a story about Tom that's outside of the book. There was a guy named Tom West, and I became friends with him. He was a local DJ here in St. Louis. He loved my writing. I mean, he was nuts for it. I signed my books. Life is short. Stories are forever. He got it tattooed on his leg. So he really, really dug it, and we had a good time. Unfortunately, Tom just died suddenly, right around 2020, I believe. He just died. We don't know what happened. He was gone, and I was really grieving for him. I missed him a lot, and all of a sudden, Tom, this character, shows up in the book, and man, it took off like a rocket from there. And I feel like it's an homage to him, and it's also why I'm Joe West. I used to be somebody else, but now I'm Joe West because I had this vision. This is going to sound so, I don't know, narcissistic, but it was me and Tom, and we were standing in front of these great audiences, and Tom would introduce me, and Tom would narrate all the stories. He had narrated one of my short stories and recorded it and sent it to me, and I just loved it. It's on YouTube if anybody wants to check it out. Really easy to find. Just type into, Joe West. You can find me. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Come to my Facebook page. We'll have a good time. We'll party. Anyway, it's just like we can go through this journey now, though. We can carry it on together. I can still have Tom in my heart, and I want people to. I love telling people about Tom because he's a beautiful human being, and he literally changed my life.
That's awesome. I love a muse story. I think muses are important. Um, and when you describe that, having someone who connects with you on that level, um, those people are hard to find. Sometimes we find them in our partners, sometimes not, sometimes in friends, but you have random connections. And I feel that with what we're all doing here in the writing community, especially like the Twitter writing community in particular, we're making these kind of soul-like connections with like-minded people that normally we would never come across. And it feels a little magical. So I love when you tell that story. It feels magical. It doesn't feel narcissistic when you tell the story. It feels like soul connection to me. And I think that's really wonderful that you shared that and that you continue to share the story about that person.
Absolutely. I don't want people to forget about Tom. I want to remind him that he was around and he was important and he changed lives. I'm one of hundreds. I promise you. He was just a beautiful human being. I mean, I'm a pretty nasty, awful person most of the time. And this is a guy he saw through all that nonsense and just gave you a hug and you know, it'd be all right. With Tom, there wasn't any of that drama. He was wonderful, man.
I was watching a show. I now, of course, I can't remember. I think it might have been Saul. One of the characters explained there are good bad guys and bad good guys. Do you
Oh
find
yeah.
that in your writing, do you incorporate some of those concepts of writing someone who may not be on the surface as appealing?
Well,
Um,
the thing I find about bad guys is they don't know they're bad guys. They think they're good people doing good things and having to take a few extreme measures here and there, a couple liberties. I caught your last interview with Nathan. I know he was big with Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. Loved him too. But my original jam is The Sopranos. And I
oh yeah.
love The Sopranos. I'm watching season 3 again. I've watched the entire series 15, 20 times. I've had arguments with people over it about the ending. Oh, I get into it. I'm just like, listen, you don't know. But the thing is, when you've got a really good bad guy, they don't know they're bad. This is just life. And they think everything they're doing is a good thing. And they're fighting evil. And technically, yeah, for the most part, they're pretty horrible human beings. My protagonist, Freddie, is not a great person. He never wanted to be. He's a louse. He's a drug abuser and a drinker and a carouser, as my grandmother might say. But this is a person with a decent heart too. There's a sub character in the book. His name is Octavius, and he's the child of Sunday, who's the younger of the two women. And he falls in love with the kid. He just gives his whole heart to him because he sees he needs help. He needs somebody in his life. And growing up, I was that kid. I was abused and used and left behind. And my father left when I was 8. I have no idea where he's at. My stepfather left again when I was 18. And there's that. And I had to had to jump in and raise my brothers. And I know about that pain of yearning, of wanting for someone, a father, which is a very special relationship for a child. I don't care what anybody says. Even when you're divorced, having one of your parents exit your life, it's not something I wish upon anybody. But and it takes a long time to get over that pain, a lot. And God, I prayed. Oh, how I prayed for a savior to come into the house and rescue me. Now I had a lot of Uncle Dan's, Uncle Mike's, Uncle Jim's, Uncle Paul's. My mom just she was okay with it, and I learned to be okay with it too. And but we moved every 3-4 months. Rent was due. We didn't have it, and after a while, the landlord actually wants money. So there's that. Uh, uh, and I just, I've lived in cars, lived in basements, lived in friends' spare rooms. I mean, it was not a fun childhood I wish upon anybody. But like my mom told me before she died, if your childhood wasn't so shitty, you have nothing to write about, Joe.
I was going to say a lot of the writing is informed by the working out of these issues. For myself, I tend to explore the dark parts because I'm a fairly sunny dispositioned person. And I'm going to say I was really lucky and fortunate in terms of my upbringing, in terms of my parents, but that doesn't preclude me from exploring the dark parts that of myself. So having feelings that are like homicidal, let's just be honest, homicidal feelings, things along those lines. My husband sometimes jokes that I have an Irish temper and Italian attitude, meaning I'm right and I'm going to explode at any point. Like it's one of those things. So just exploring those themes, and I like that. And of course, you're talking biblical themes in your book, and yeah, they've been explored. Like we keep finding new ways to tell these stories that are kind of basic in our human experience that we can all tap into. Is there something in your book that you'd want the reader to take from it, in terms of a message or something that you wanted to get across? I don't want you to give it away. It's a hard question because I don't want you to give the secret away. But there's something behind the writing that is the message behind the character. Do you have
Well,
any of that?
well, the main message is that, rich or poor, white or black, we're all the same. We boil down to being the same kind of people over and over again. And people judge us real sternly. And you sometimes are considered a certain way for a very long time, for a lifetime. My mother, all the mistakes she's made, I have people won't talk to me because of the things that she did to them. I've been judged in collusion with her in a sense, and that's fine, whatever. I do know some of her real old friends, and they still piss and moan about how she screwed them over. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what to tell you. It wasn't my fault. But in Strange Flesh, the whole idea is that I'm retelling a story from Genesis. I know, more biblical bullshit, right? Wonderful. Anyway, yeah, the story is the story of Abraham, Sarah, and Hagar. And if you're not familiar with this, Abraham and Sarah are very, very old, in their 90s, and God has promised them a child. And Sarah is just like, yeah, it's not going to happen. You and God and this deal it's a joke. And she finally gets this handmaiden Hagar. She says, you know what? Why don't you go ahead and make this special child with Hagar? And all I can think every time I read the story, it's Abraham's like, are you cool with this? Are you really cool with this? Is this okay? Is this cool? Are we cool with this? Are we cool? This is cool, right? It's cool. I do this. And she's like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Well, eventually it ain't. And when it ain't, it ain't. And, Hagar gets tossed into the desert to die with her son Ishmael. And then, of course, by some miracle, angel comes, saves them all, and Islam's born. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, the thing about the Bible is it lacks tons of subtext. The stories could be a lot more interesting if we actually had the story of the story, but we don't. And I'm always pulling these things out. I spent a lot of years studying and teaching the Bible, if you can believe that. I used to teach Sunday school in a Baptist church, and boy, oh boy, I know. But I just often thought, Man, why doesn't anybody question any of this? I mean, Jesus Christ, two people on earth, they get kicked out of the garden Eden. They have two kids. One kid murders the other kid. Okay, Christ, we're down to three. Oh, but the dude's going to go over to the land of Nod and start begetting with all these people. Who the hell are all these people? I do not know. What are we missing? This little something here, just a wee bit. So it's those kind of things. I'm just like, how can we just? To me, it's just almost a book of nonsense after a while, and fairy tales that have been strung together loosely and poorly. I don't know. I wasn't at the Council of Trent, so I really don't have a vote in it. But yeah, there, that's it. Good luck.
You're on your own. Oh, can you tell us where to find your awesome book, where people can find you and read your work?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask. Anyway, go to Amazon.com. The best way to search for a book is when you type in Joe West, Strange Flesh, and you spell flesh with a $sign. Most of the time, it won't come up otherwise. There's another Joe West. Oh, unbelievable. Two of us in the world. But I'm the good one. So this is the one you want. You can come to my Facebook page. I've got tons of stuff there. Joe West. It's easy to find me. There's tons of links, much more than the book. I love to go out and perform, and I'm starting to do that now. I'm a big extrovert in an introvert's world, and I really am dying to turn people on. So, I'll be happy to play your bar room, your tattoo parlor, whatever you got. Bring it on. I'll play a birthday party, but this is going to get weird, kids. It's going to get real weird.
It's funny you should say that. I was watching Tiny Desk on the Tiny Desk concert series, and there's a poet, Arlo Parks, out of England, and she's a performer, she's a singer, but while she's singing in between each set, she reads her poetry, and I absolutely love it. So when you were talking about that, I was thinking about, do you do just spoken word? Do you play instruments? Do you sing?
Well, I first of all, I'm going to check that out, and if she's as good as you say, I'm totally going to rip her off. So that's good to know.
It's amazing. It's
Oh,
amazing. Yeah.
I cannot wait to take her act and make it my own and pretend she doesn't exist. Yeah, I do play an instrument. Well, a jury of my peers probably wouldn't convict me of being a musician, but I've been playing bass since I was 16, and I'm just one of those Geddy Lee kind of guys where it's just like, really? More notes? I don't mind. Can you just play these three notes? God, I wish I could, man. I really wish I could. It just isn't in me. It's just so simple and so easy. And look at me. I'm just all complicated and screwed up. I mean, if I'm not heavily medicated, and it's really a waste of a day.
Oh, everybody needs a bass player, though. Everybody needs a bass player.
Yeah,
so everyone who wants to be the lead guitar.
I got this fantasy of playing bass in a I don't know. It's everything but being a bass player, and people will just like, hey, yeah, that's not bass, but boy, you're really something. I remember this. I went to this great audition. Went to see this guy. I met him around the way. He says, "Come to my house, check it out. I got this great band." I'm like, okay, cool. I walk in. This guy is just wailing like Eddie Van Halen meets Yngwie Malmsteen. Like, Jesus, oh my God. I'm getting all hyped up. I'm moving all my steering. This guy is on the phone with a bong and only his right hand on the guitar, and he's taking a hit. He goes, "Hey Joe, I'll be with you in a minute." And I was like, oh my God. So I unpack my gear, plug in all my stuff. I'm like, I'll give you some Cliff Burton. I'll just run right into some Cliff Burton from Metallica. Just bring it out. Anesthesia pulling teeth. And I get done. 10 minutes later, I mean, there's a room full of guys like, dude, this guy's amazing. Like, cool. I said, dude, yeah, we're gonna hire this guy over here. He's been playing for 2 weeks. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, we already got a star. We don't need another one.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the story of my life. It's just like, dude, why can't you just be normal? I don't know.
You're just overachieving all over the place. So,
well, it's hard to be an overachiever who can't even hit the damn target. It's just like, the target's just right there. Just hit it. I know, but look at all this stuff around it. Joe, man. Anyway, if sucking was an Olympic event, I'd have 20 gold medals.
All right. Well, don't say that. I'm ending it there. You don't suck.
All
It's been
right,
so
on the
fun.
record, somebody finally, thank you, God, if you
It's
exist.
if Joe West is your real name. I'm just kidding.
Wink, wink.
Oh, Joe, well, thank you so much for spending this time a second time with me. It's been so
Oh,
fun as usual.
so much fun,
Too fun.
Kelly. I can't wait for the third time.
It'll happen. If you just email me, I'll fit it in.
Fantastic. I'm writing an email right now. Look at me. Oh, all done.
Have a great day, Joe.
Thanks, Kelly. Bye.